Okay, so hello, good evening, everyone. Myself, Tanvira Nasrin, and I will be dealing with your today's session on research aptitude. Okay, Asiya Mariam, thank you for your response. So, uh, myself, Tanvira Nasrin, as I already mentioned, and I'm psychology major, and I have cracked the JRF in the last session of UGC, which was December 2023. So, without any further delay, I am starting the class, which is on research aptitude, the second unit of UGC paper 1. So, research aptitude, what are your opinions about the topic research aptitude? We are just very few members in this session, so I expect very much response from your side. Only that way we can make this session more productive. Okay, so everyone please kindly respond to the question. And how do you find this topic? Have you have any idea about research aptitude? Where do you stand in terms of in terms of this topic of research aptitude? Do you find it difficult or tough? Any response would be sufficient. Okay, so kindly respond, everyone, please. How do you find research aptitude? Okay, that is my question to you guys. Moderate. Okay, Asti has responded that she finds this topic moderate difficult. Like, she is on this moderate page. So what about other members? Do I need to call you out, guys? Okay, we have no much time. Okay, so in my opinion, research aptitude actually is not very much difficult and not very much easy. As Asia mentioned, it is in the middle, okay? In the middle of the continuum, research aptitude lies. If you have mastered the concept, okay, the syllabus, you can easily crack at least 3 questions, okay? As you know, each unit has 5 questions and we'll be having 10 marks, each question 2 marks. So if you deal with the basic concept, which is in the syllabus, you can easily crack 3 questions at most. Okay. So if you further read it, you can crack 5 questions itself. Okay. So this is a syllabus. This is a syllabus. One second, my presentation mode has gone off. Yeah. This is a syllabus of our research aptitude chapter. Just basics of what is the meaning of research, type and characteristics, then some research philosophies, methods of research, steps of research, writing research, then application of ICT in research, and research ethic. That is all the syllabus is dealing with. And most of the time, the questions come from this syllabus only. Out of syllabus questions are very rare in the case of research aptitude. So one thing I want to say you guys is you have to master each of this topic. The basic is that. Okay. So first we will be discussing what research is. Okay. So research, as already mentioned in this slide, it is a systematic investigation or inquiry into a subject or problem in order to discover, interpret, or revise fact, theories, application, or process. So you will be finding many definitions on research. The one I have quoted is a simple one. It suggests that research is a systematic investigation. You have to clearly understand that research is systematic investigation. Okay, one point about research is it is a systematic investigation. So what is it investigating? It is investigating either a problem or subject. Okay, why is it investigating a subject or problem? It is investigating a subject or problem so as to discover, interpret, or revise fact, theories, application, or process. So we have to decode the definition. We get that research is a systematic investigation. It is looking into a subject or problem. It is trying to discover, interpret, or revise fact, theories, application, or process. Okay, so most of us, when we hear about the word research, what comes to our mind will be experimental setting and all. But apart from obviously research, all this experimental setting are a part of research. Apart from that, our usual pen and paper research is also a part of research. Okay, so mathematical research, theoretical research, all these are part of research only. Okay, all experimental research is one type of research. This theoretical research is another type of research. Okay, so I hope everybody is clear about what exactly research is. It is a systematic investigation or inquiry into a subject or problem so as to discover, interpret, or revise fact, theories, application, or process. Okay. You just get the idea. What is research? This question is not expected in UGC NET. Okay, we have to get the idea of what is research. Then only we can further go into the next sessions. Okay, next parts. So I hope everyone is clear about what exactly research is. Next, we will be discussing the characteristics of research. There are many characteristics of research. I have just mentioned 4 characteristics which are very much important. So first characteristic of research is that it is systematic. We have already discussed in this definition that research is systematic. So what exactly is meant by the word systematic? By systematic, we are meaning that research has clear step. Okay, it has clear step. It has clear and written methodologies and procedures. So why is there a clear step methodologies and procedure to research? All these clear step methodologies and procedures are very important for ensuring reliability and validity of research. Okay, so that is about the characteristic of systematic. Next characteristic is objective. In research, it is very important that we have to be objective. What is exactly objective? Objectivity is the ability to assess information and situations without being influenced by personal feelings. So when a person is engaging in a research, he or she has to put aside their personal opinions about that specific problem. Okay, so as I already mentioned, one will be studying a subject or problem, right, in research. So when we are engaging in a research, one has to put aside their personal opinions about that subject or that problem. Okay, one has to go according to the evidence or whatever data they have collected. One has to keep aside that personal opinions. So the ability to keep aside that personal opinions and personal feelings, etc., are said to be objectivity. That ability to keep aside is called objectivity. If one's personal opinions, personal feelings come into the research, then that research is said to be subjective. Okay. So one main characteristic of research is that it has to be objective. Only when research is objective, it is said to have reliable and valid. Okay. The next characteristic of research is that research should be logical. A logical framework is very much needed, okay, in a research. So we have to arrive at the conclusions according to the evidences that we have deduced from that research. Okay, one cannot say any conclusion without any logical reasons. So that is what logic, but that is what the characteristic logical means. Okay, it is simple. One has to arrive at conclusion according to the evidences or according to the valid reason. You cannot say anything and everything what you want. You have to be logical. Okay, then next is replicable. Replicable means that anyone should be able to replicate the study under the same procedures and same methods and obtain the same result. So if suppose I engage in a research about gravity, okay, I engage in a research about gravity and I arrive at the conclusion that the gravity of the earth is 9.8 meter per second square. Okay, that is what I arrived at according to my research. So if another person, suppose Mr. X, he engaged in this same research, given the same methods and procedure, he should also be able to arrive at the same conclusion that the gravity of the earth is 9.8 meter per second square. Then only we can say that the research is replicable. Then only the research will be reliable and valid. Okay, so that is about the main characteristics of research. We have research is systematic, research is objective, research is logical, and research is replicable. Okay, I hope everyone is clear about the characteristics of research. There are many other characteristics. I'm not discussing those, just discussing the very important ones. Okay, so Next slide is types of research. So we have discussed what is research and what are the characteristics of research. Next, we will be discussing which are the types of research. So there are many type of research out there. All these researches are based on different criteria. Okay, the classification are based on different criteria. So first criteria upon which the research is classified is based on the application. So based on the application of research, we can classify the research into basic research and applied research. So what is basic research? Basic research, it is also known as pure or fundamental research. It is conducted to expand knowledge and understanding of a subject without any immediate practical application in mind. So when we are making theories about something or when we are discovering fact, okay, which is merely out of intellectual curiosity, we are engaging in basic research or pure research. Okay. So suppose I am interested in studying why a particular phenomena happens, whatever a particular phenomena happens, why this particular phenomena is happening. Okay, I was just merely curious about it. Okay, there is no need for understanding that phenomena, there is not a problem there. Just out of mere curiosity of mine, I'm studying a specific phenomena. So at that point of time, I am engaging in a basic research, because at that point of time I am trying to expand my knowledge, right? I wanted to know what exactly that phenomena is and other details about that phenomena. That is why I'm engaging in that research and understanding of that subject. There is no practical application. So that kind of research is basic research. So it is due to this basic research theories are formed. Okay, all this basic theoretical aspect are formed as a result of basic research. On the other hand, there is applied research. Applied research is directed towards solving specific practical problems or addressing specific questions. Okay, so it involves the basic application of basic research. Suppose we have a problem at hand. We have corona. Okay, we have very much overcome the disease of corona, but suppose there is a virus like corona. Okay, and we have to overcome that disease. So one has to find a vaccination or medicine for this virus, particular virus, corona or whatever virus. So a group of researchers will be doing research to find out a solution to that problem, solution to that virus. At that point of time, one is engaging in an applied research, because one is trying to solve that problem, solve that this particular virus problem, right? So at that point of time, one is engaging in applied research, right? That is not out of mere intellectual curiosity, right? That is because there is a problem at hand and one has to solve that problem. So that is about applied research. The basic difference between applied research and basic research is that in basic research, one is trying to expand their knowledge. There is no problem at hand. Okay. On the other side, in applied research, one is trying to solve a problem which is out there. Okay. And another difference is that the basic foundation is laid by basic research, and in applied research, the outcome of basic research is put into practice. So if you look into all disciplines, there will be branches dealing with basic research and branches dealing with applied research. I am a psychology major, so there is psychology. We have general psychology and educational psychology, like that. All those different branches of psychology, and there is applied psychology, where this all theories are putting out into practice. So in applied psychology, one is engaging in applied research. There is statistics and applied statistics. So in the branch of statistics, one is engaging in basic research, and in the branch of applied statistics, one is engaging in applied research. So that is about basic research and applied research. You can look into the difference between basic research and applied research in this particular slide. So in pure research or basic research, it is the original type of research, while in applied research, it is based on the pure research. Then in pure research, it is related with the formulation of theory, while in applied research, it is related with the application of theories for finding solutions. So finding solution is an important part of applied research. Then pure research is purely knowledge oriented, while applied research is problem oriented. Pure research tries to explain why things happen, while applied research tries to explain how things can be changed. Okay. I hope you have been clear about what pure research and applied research is. The next one is based on objective. We can classify the research into three, which are exploratory research, explanatory research, and descriptive research. So if our objective is to explore a phenomena, we are engaging in exploratory research. Okay, there is a phenomena which you want to gather preliminary information about. So you are engaging in the exploratory research. Okay, so in exploratory research, one gathers preliminary information about a phenomena and lays a solid foundation for the research in future. So as the name indicates, it explore. You have to keep in mind that the word itself, exploratory research. So the phenomena is being explored. You are focusing on what a phenomena is, what actually a phenomena is that is what is being focused in an exploratory research. Coming to explanatory research, as the name indicates, the research is trying to explain why the phenomena happens. Okay, explain why the phenomena happen, what is causing this phenomena. That is what is being researched in an explanatory research. You are finding the causal factors of the phenomena. What exactly is causing this phenomena? Why is this phenomena occurring? The cause-effect relationship is being identified, and all this is explained in that explanatory research. Then there is the third type of research, which is descriptive research. So in descriptive research, one is trying to describe. You have to focus on the name. One is trying to describe the phenomena. So describing means how, what, when, where, all those kind of questions. But why this phenomena is happening? That why question is being addressed in the explanatory research. What question is being addressed in the exploratory research? Descriptive research seeks to explain what, how, when, where, all those questions. Okay, it is trying to describe the characteristics, the behaviors of all the phenomena of a population or something. Okay, what is your problem at hand? We are trying to describe that problem at hand. Okay, so causal relationship is being focused in the explanatory research. You have to keep that in mind. Causal relationship is being explored in the explanatory research. Causal relationship is being explored in the explanatory research. Causal relationship is being explored in the explanatory research. Exploratory research, what questions are being addressed. Descriptive research, next, all those what, how, when, all those questions are being addressed. Okay, let me give you an example. We will be focusing on this coronavirus, that particular example only. So then when this first coronavirus outbreak has happened, one will be firstly engaged in this exploratory research. One has to explore what exactly this phenomena is, what exactly this virus is. So we will be engaging in this exploratory research, and we explore that this is a COVID-19 virus, so and so this has all this particular characteristics and everything. We explore in the exploratory research. Again, after some point of time, one will be engaging in the descriptive research. Once the phenomena is being explored, then one will be engaging in the descriptive research. So we have explored what the virus is. Next, we are trying to describe what exactly this COVID-19 virus is. So we'll be describing how its structure is, what are its characteristics, what are its behaviors, what all those things are being described in the descriptive research. After engaging in the descriptive research, then we will be engaging in the explanatory research, where we are trying to decode why this phenomena is happening. Okay, what is causing this virus? All those things are being explained. So that is how the trajectory is going. First, we will be engaging in the exploratory research. Then we will be engaging in the descriptive research. at last point of time, we will be engaging in the exploratory research. Okay, I hope the trajectory is clear. Then this is a table, which is a simple table explaining the differences between the three types of research. Exploratory research, it is used to gain initial insight and understanding. The research questions are open-ended and what specific, and it is primarily qualitative. Okay, we know that we are trying to explore it, so it is mostly open-ended. Being if the questions are close-ended, we cannot explore. So the questions are open-ended so that we can explore to the maximum. Okay, then the another one, exploratory research, as already mentioned, we have to identify the cause-effect relationship. Okay, then why and how specific research questions are out there. Then this research is primarily quantitative in nature. You have to keep that in mind, that we can only explain why question by using quantitative research. That is why explanatory research is primarily quantitative in nature. Okay. Then there is descriptive research. Descriptive research describe the characteristics and patterns, and it will be dealing with who, what type of questions. Then it is a mix of qualitative and quantitative. So to describe, one has to use both qualitative methods and quantitative methods. So that is about the exploratory, explanatory, and descriptive research methods. Then the third type of classification of research is based on the research process. What all research process is in a research? Upon on the basis of that, research is being classified into quantitative research, qualitative research, and mixed method research. So quantitative research is concerned with the systematic investigation of phenomena. Okay, it is that is simply research. Okay, quantitative research is concerned with the systematic investigation of a phenomena by gathering quantifiable data. Keep that in mind, quantifiable data, and analyzing the data by statistical techniques. So in quantitative research, there are two main things. One is numerical data or quantifiable data. Okay, the data one is dealing with is purely quantitative in nature or purely numerical in nature, and the analysis one is doing is statistical in nature. So that in the beginning itself, I have said that this classification is based on research process. Okay, so in quantitative research, the research is concerned with numerical data and statistical techniques. That is the two major characteristics of quantitative research. Then it is focusing on quantifying the phenomena and establishing patterns or cause-effect relationship. So we will be studying a particular phenomena. So when we are dealing with the phenomena by using quantitative research, we will be quantifying the data. Okay, quantitative research is quantifying the data. The name itself is indicating that quantitative research is quantifying the data. So by quantity, we have to understand that quantity means numbers, right? So in quantitative research, one is quantifying the data or using numerical data, and the analysis is done by statistical techniques. Okay, so cause-effect relationship is mainly being studied in the quantitative research. I hope that part is clear. This is a very important part. You have many questions coming from this quantitative, qualitative, that area. So quantitative is numerical data, statistical techniques are being used, cause-effect relationship is being explored, and description of phenomena is also being studied in quantitative research. Then you have to understand that generalization, the point I have missed it here is generalization of a phenomena is usually done in quantitative research. So quantitative research is also concerned with generalization and also standardization. All these things are coming under the heading of quantitative research. Okay, then coming to qualitative research, you have to decode the heading itself, qualitative research. So qualitative research is concerning with the quality. Okay, so here non-numerical data is being collected. The data which is collected is non-numerical in nature. You are not giving importance to quantifying data, but you are giving importance to the quality of data. How much quality the data has, how in-depth the data is. That is what is being explored in qualitative research. You're trying to understand and explore a complex phenomena in depth. Okay, so you are focusing more on the meaning, perception, and experiences of that phenomena. So here it is non-numerical data and it is non-statistical techniques. So we will be getting the data which is in non-numerical form. The data will be mainly codes and all, or usual conversations, things like that. And the analysis we will be using is not statistical. It will be non-statistical techniques like thematic analysis, phenomenology, etc. Okay, so here the priority is understanding the phenomena in depth. So in quantitative research, as I mentioned, it is mainly concerned with generalization. So as to generalize the data, we will be having bigger sample size. We will be collecting data from bigger samples, like many number of people will be collecting data. We'll be collecting data for like 300, 400, or like thousands of people, so that we can generalize this phenomena. It is like this in all of the world, like that. So or whole of the population, it is like that. So we should be having a large amount of data, then only we can generalize. So in quantitative research, we will be dealing with large number of samples, but in qualitative research, we will be dealing with smaller number of samples, because when we are dealing with larger number of samples, the quality is compromised. So not to compromise quality, in qualitative data, we will be collecting data from small number of people, suppose 10, 15, 20, like that small number of data we will be collecting. So the next question is, upon what basis one should select quantitative research or qualitative research, which is more good, or more which is more good, we can say. To answer that question, one need to understand that quantitative research and qualitative research both has its own merit and demerits. One is not above another and one is not below another. So the selection of quantitative research or qualitative research is purely based upon your research question. So suppose you are studying a physical phenomena, maybe a physical phenomena out there in the field of physics or in the field of chemistry. One will be dealing with quantitative research, because one can experiment that, one can have that quantitative data. But if one is dealing with social science subjects, say psychology, anthropology, sociology, you cannot get that quantitative data. You can only get that qualitative or non-numerical data. At that point of time, you will be engaging in qualitative research. Okay, then there is mixed method research, which has been recently evolved. It is gradually being evolved. Okay, so mixed method, as the name indicates, it is a mix of both quantitative and qualitative method. So here the data will be more both quantitative and qualitative. So you will be having numerical data, you will be having non-numerical data, and you will it has its own set of analysis and things like that. It integrates both numerical and non-numerical data, and upon integrating that those two data, you will be getting a comprehensive understanding of that particular research problem or phenomena at hand. Okay, so let me give you an example for both quantitative and qualitative research. And you are studying, suppose you are studying a particular relationship between the amount of sleep and the academic performance. Okay, so you are trying to establish whether there is a relationship between the amount of sleep, the amount of hours you are sleeping, and the academic achievement. At that point of time, you can collect data from students, right? You are trying to establish the relationship between the academic performance of students and the time they sleep. So you will be getting quantitative data, the amount of sleep. Okay, that is a quantitative data. You will get one is sleeping 8 hours, or one will be sleeping 10 hours, one will be sleeping 9 hours. So that the data there is quantitative, and the another variable is academic performance. So academic performance is also quantitative. You will be taking the CGPA or the marks, okay, marks or CGPA, whatever it is quantitative in nature, right? That is numbers. It is numbers. So if you are dealing with such a topic, you will be engaging in quantitative research. Suppose you are trying to understand a cultural practices of particular group. Okay, you are trying to study cultural practices of, suppose, a Muslim community, Malabar Muslim community. You are trying to understand what are the cultural practices out there. So you cannot take quantitative data, right? You cannot, you will be not having numbers out there. You will be having video recordings of those cultural practices. You will be having people saying the tradition behind each practices. So the data out there is qualitative in nature. Those are words, right? You're trying to understand the meanings, perception, and experience of cultural practices. So out at that point of time, it is qualitative data. Okay. So coming to mixed method, it will be the mix of both qualitative and quantitative. Then for that, let me give you an example. Suppose you're trying to study happiness. Okay. Happiness, there are many psychometric scales out there which are trying to measure happiness. Then we are also taking qualitative data, asking people about what exactly happiness is for you. How do you define happiness? Questions like that, which will be giving non-numerical data, and there are scales which will be giving numerical data, and you will integrate both this numerical data and non-numerical data by using different analysis and all, and you will get the comprehensive understanding of what exactly happiness is, how people, how much happy people are, things like that. Okay, so that is about quantitative, qualitative, and mixed method research. Next is a table showing the difference between quantitative and qualitative research, which we have already discussed in detail. Quantitative research is numerical data. It uses statistical analysis. It focuses on the measurement and quantification. On the other hand, qualitative research is non-numerical data. It is dealing with non-numerical data. It is using non-statistical analysis, and it is focusing on the understanding of experiences and meaning of that experiences. Okay. I hope it is clear to you what exactly quantitative, qualitative, and mixed method are. Okay. So we have discussed, first of all, we have discussed the type of research, which is pure research and applied research. Then we have discussed exploratory, and descriptive research. After that, we have discussed quantitative, qualitative, and mixed method research. The last one in the type of research is based on the approach. Okay, based on the approach in research, we are classified the research into longitudinal research and cross-sectional research. Okay, this longitudinal research and cross-sectional research, the classification is based on how many times we are collecting data. Okay, and how we are collecting data. On the basis of that approach, we have classified research into longitudinal research and cross-sectional research. So in longitudinal research, it involves studying the same group of participants. We are studying the same group of participants or subject, okay, over an extended period of time. That is, which means there is a group of people who are having cancer. Okay, so you are studying how they are dealing with cancer. So you will be collecting data at the beginning when they know about their cancer. You will collect data, and after a gap of 3 months, you will be again collecting data from the same same people. Then after 3 months, you will be collecting data from these same people. Then after 3 months, you will be collecting data. So you are collecting data multiple times. Okay, you're collecting data multiple times from the same group of people. That is what longitudinal research is. Long, okay, the word has longitudinal research. It is a long research. Okay, it needs very much amount of money, very much amount of time. You are investing all those things into longitudinal research. It involves studying the same group of participants or same group of subjects over an extended period of time. So in this research, the researcher collect data at multiple time points. Okay, so why is this data collection occurring at multiple times? So as to observe the changes, developments, or trends within that group. All this longitudinal research is mainly done in developmental studies or psychology studies, all those things like medical science. All these disciplines mainly engage in longitudinal research. So it is, as already mentioned, it is done to understand or observe changes, developments, or trends within the group. So let me give you an example. You are studying emotional development. Okay, you are studying emotional development of a person, a human being. How the emotional development of human being occurs. That is what you are studying. So you will be studying. You can study it multiple ways. One way you can study is that you follow a group of individuals from their birth to their death. Okay, so you will be collecting data from this. Suppose there are 10 people. Okay, there are 10 people. You are trying to study the emotional development, that trajectory of emotional development you are trying to study. So you will be collecting data from these 10 people, when they are born, when they reach their first year, when they reach their second year, when they reach their third year, like all those ages you are studying. So you will be able to track the changes happened in your emotion when this person, all these 10 people are at their infancy. They will be not having any emotions. Then after 1 year they are started to showing some emotions. Then at the age of 2 years they are showing emotions very well. Then at the age of 3 years you are again collecting data, and you understand that there are different emotions. They are able to manifest each emotions. Then you are collecting data from the fourth age, fifth age. So you are collecting data at multiple times, same participants, and you're trying to observe the changes or developments and trends within the same group. So the main points in longitudinal research is that same group of people, a long amount of time, and multiple time data collection. That is the main points in longitudinal research. Same group of people, then extended period of time, then there is multiple data collection points. Okay, then the next type is cross-sectional research. In cross-sectional research, a population or sample is only studied at a single point in time. You are not collecting data multiple times. You are just collecting data a single point in time. Okay, so you are collecting data from different individuals or groups at one specific point to assess the differences, relationship, or trends across the variables. So cross-sectional studies are also very much relevant in the time in terms of developmental studies. So let me give you the example with the same emotional development only. So you're trying to study emotional development of humans, how you develop emotions, everything. So if you're doing a cross-sectional research, you will collect data from a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, okay, all 3-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old. There are many like many people of different ages. You are collecting data at the same time from different aged people. So you can understand that okay, this 1-year-old baby has this emotions and is showing this type of emotions and everything. The 2nd-year-old baby is showing this things. The 3rd-year-old is showing this thing. So you can collect or you can assess the changes at that single point only. You can understand the changes or understand the relationship or trends with that single data collection only. That is about cross-sectional research. Okay. So I hope it is clear to you. In longitudinal research, one is collecting data at multiple point of time an extended period of time. The research is going for extended period of time and multiple data collection is happening over the same participant. But in cross-sectional research, you are just studying a population or sample at a single point of time. Okay, but different type of individuals are involved in the research. I hope all these 4 types of research is clear to you. Anyone has any questions regarding the type of research? Anyone, please? Okay. So I hope it is clear to you the different type of research. Then we will be moving to the another some type of research which are very common in our research. The first one is, okay. So yeah. So we will be looking into different type of research which is very common. First we will be discussing some type of quantitative research. Then we will be discussing some type of qualitative research. Okay, so the first one we will be discussing is experimental research. Sorry. So as I already mentioned, there is quantitative research and there is qualitative research. The quantitative research is mainly concerned with quantitative data or numerical data. It has statistical analysis happening there. Then there is qualitative data, which is mainly concerned with non-numerical data, and it is trying to understand a phenomena in detail. Okay, so the different type of quantitative research. The first one is experimental research. So in experimental research, you are trying to understand or seeks to understand the cause-effect relationship between variables. Okay, so you are trying to understand what is causing a particular phenomena. What is the effect a particular variable has on another variable? So you're the typical experimental setting, there is a laboratory, there are different equipments, all those things, right? That is what experimental research is. The pure research, the true research, right? That is experimental research. It is systematic and controlled. Okay, you have to understand the different characteristics of experimental research. First one is it is systematic. Okay, research in general is systematic. So experimental research is obviously has to be systematic. Okay, so experimental research is systematic in nature and it is controlled. A very important characteristics of experimental research is that it is controlled. Okay, and it is trying to establish or understand the cause and effect relationship between variables. So you have to keep in mind the 2 characteristics. One is experimental research is controlled in nature and it is trying to establish cause and effect relationship between variables. Okay. Then it involves manipulating one or more independent variables to observe their effect on the dependent variable and while controlling the extraneous variables. So you have I just read out 3 variables. One is independent variables, then there is dependent variable, and then there is extraneous variable. So you are manipulating the independent variable. The word manipulating simply means you are changing the independent variable. You are either increasing the independent variable or you are either decreasing the independent variable. So you are manipulating or changing the independent variable and you are observing what exactly the effect is on the dependent variable. I hope you understand. You are changing, you are increasing or decreasing the independent variable and observing the effect of that change on dependent variable. So you are trying to understand what the independent variable, what effect the independent variable is causing on the dependent variable, right? I hope that section is clear. And you are holding constant, you're holding the extraneous variable constant or you're controlling the extraneous variable. So there is 3 variables: independent variables, dependent variables, and extraneous variables. You are changing the independent variable. You are either increasing or decreasing the independent variable and you're observing the effect of independent variable on dependent variable. and you are controlling or keeping constant extraneous variable. Okay, so that portion is again explained here. The independent variable is the variable that is being controlled or manipulated by the researcher. So the independent variable is either increased or decreased. Okay, the independent variable, why is the independent variable increasing or decreasing? The independent variable is increasing or decreasing to understand what effect it is being made on the dependent variable. Okay, you understand the names, right? Independent variable. Okay, it is independent, it is free, it is free of any effect. That is what the name means, independent variable. Then there is dependent variable. So the dependent variable is dependent on the independent variable. So you're trying to explain how dependent variable is dependent on the independent variable. What changes is independent variable causing on the dependent variable? You are observing that change. You are observing that change on the dependent variable. So you will be you are increasing the independent variable, and you will observe what effect it is happening on the dependent variable. Then you are keeping the independent variable constant, and you will see what effect it is happening on the dependent variable. Then you will decrease the independent variable, and you will see what it is causing on the dependent variable. Likewise, you are manipulating the independent variable and observing the effect on dependent variable. Okay, the independent variable is expected to cause changes on the dependent variable, and the dependent variable is expected to change in response to the manipulation of independent variable. Okay, the independent variable is usually expressed as IV, and dependent variable is usually expressed as DV. Then there is extraneous variable. These extraneous variable, extra, okay, these are extra variables, and these extraneous variable can cause effect on dependent variable. Okay, they can also cause changes, but you have to keep them constant, or you have to keep them controlled. Then only you can understand what exact effect the independent variable has on dependent variable. Otherwise, these extraneous variable will be confounding the experiment. They will damage the experiment. Okay, if the extraneous variable are not controlled, they will be damaging the result of the study, or they will be affecting the outcome of the study. They are actually not focus of the research. That is why we are keeping all those extraneous variables as constant. So let me give you an example for experimental research. I hope you have all seen this ad of Horlicks. They claim that Horlicks makes children taller, stronger, and sharper, right? So there is if you are trying to prove that a particular energy drink, whichever energy drink is, will make the children taller, stronger, and sharper than other students. So we are comparing two people. There is a group of people which who are not drinking this particular energy drink, say Horlicks. Okay, we'll be going with Horlicks only. Okay, there are a group of people who are not drinking Horlicks, and then there are a group of people who are drinking Horlicks. Okay, so the group of people who are not drinking Horlicks is called as the controlled group. Okay, there is a controlled group, controlled group, and there is the experimental group. The experimental group is the group who has the Horlicks, okay, who receive the treatment, the intervention or treatment. In our example, the intervention or treatment is drinking Horlicks. Okay, Horlicks is the particular treatment. So the experimental group here is the group of students or group of children who drinks Horlicks, and the control group is the group who does not receive the treatment. That is the one who does not drink Horlicks. So you will be observing the control group, and you will be observing the experimental group, and you will decide how it goes, right? So here the independent variable is Horlicks. Okay, the dependent variable is the strength of the child. Okay, the Horlicks company is claiming that by drinking Horlicks, the children will be becoming more strong. Okay, so strength of the child, you are trying to explain how Horlicks affect the strength of the child, or how Horlicks affect the cognitive ability of the child. Okay, so Horlicks is the independent variable and strength of the child is the dependent variable. You're trying to understand the relationship between these two variables. One variable is Horlicks, drinking an energy drink, and another thing is the strength of the child. So I said that independent variable is the variable which is being manipulated. So here, in the case of Horlicks, you either give Horlicks or either you do not give Horlicks. So that is the manipulation happening here. You are manipulating the independent variable. You are changing the intake of Horlicks. You will either drink Horlicks or you will either not drink Horlicks. Okay, so that is the independent variable, and you will be observing the dependent variable, that is the strength of the child. You will look that if the child's strength is increasing or the child's strength is decreasing. Okay, so that is the dependent variable. Strength of the child is dependent variable, and you're observing what effect the Horlicks is having on the strength of the children. Okay, so here there are many extraneous variable. The health, if the child has already very much strength, then drinking Horlicks and or not will not having an established result on that. So you have to keep the diet constant. Every children should be having the same meals, should be having the same age, they should be having the same environment. So all these are extraneous factors. Food is an extraneous factor, health is an extraneous factor, age is an extraneous variable. So you have to hold constant all those extraneous variables. Otherwise, it will be confound or affect the outcome of the study. So in order to keep the extraneous variable less confounding, you will take the same age students, you will take children having the same health, or you will take children of same age. Likewise, you will make the confounding variables less showing or less effective. Okay, so that is about an experimental setting example. Okay, you will be having a control group, you will be having an experimental group. The control group will receive the treatment or intervention, and the control group will not receive the experiment. The control group will not be receiving the intervention or treatment, and the experimental group will be receiving the treatment or intervention. Then there is independent variable. You will be manipulating. You will be either you will be either increasing the variable or you will be either decreasing the variable, and you will observe the effect of independent variable on the dependent variable. Then there are extraneous variable, and you will keep the extraneous variable controlled or keep the extraneous variable constant. Then another important characteristic of experimental research is that experimental research is always happening in a controlled environment. So what do you mean by controlled environment? Controlled environment simply means that an environment where you can control the extraneous or control the extraneous variable. Confounding or extraneous variable can be controlled and the independent variable can be manipulated. Such an environment is called controlled environment. You have the control over that environment. You can make the changes happen. You can control the confounding variables. Such an environment is controlled environment, which is a very major characteristics of environment experimental research. Okay. Then there is random assignment. By random assignment, you are meaning that each participant, suppose you are trying to study this experiment over 100 participants. Each 100 of 100 participants has equal chance of being in the control group or in the experimental group. You are randomly assigning the participants into the control group or experimental group. Purely out of randomness, you are putting the participants into control group or experimental group. So each of the participant has equal probability to be in the control group or in the experimental group. That is what you mean by random assignment. Okay. Why random assignment is important? Random assignment is important to minimize bias and to ensure the reliability and validity of the research. Okay. So that is about experimental research. Then there is ex post facto research. So the ex post facto research, which is also known as causal comparative research, it is actually a different kind of quantitative research. Here, the researcher cannot manipulate the independent variable or dependent variable. So we have earlier discussed that the experimental research. In experimental research, one can change the independent variable, right? But in ex post facto research, one cannot change the independent variable or dependent variable because the independent variable and dependent variable has already been happened. Okay. This word ex post facto simply means after happening, after the fact. Okay. So here the independent variable or dependent variable is already being happened. We are just trying to understand what is the relationship between the independent variable and dependent variable after it has been occurred. We cannot manipulate the independent variable and dependent variable. See, in the experimental research, we have the control over environment. We can either increase the independent variable, decrease the independent variable. You can keep them constant. You have that control and you are making that change happen. But in ex post facto research, the variable is already happened. So you cannot manipulate the variable. You are just observing what exactly the relationship here is. So that is the main difference between experimental research and ex post facto research. In experimental research, we can manipulate the variables. Here, you cannot manipulate the variable because the variable has been already happened. Then the characteristics I already mentioned, there is no manipulation because here the phenomena is already been happened. So you cannot manipulate it. Then retrospective analysis is happening. Since the phenomena or the condition has already been happened, we are retrospectively analyzing. We are retrospectively analyzing the existing data or existing condition to understand the cause and effect relationship. So in experimental research and ex post facto research, you are trying to understand the cause and effect relationship. That is a similar thing between these two, but here in ex post facto, you are retrospectively analyzing the cause and effect. Okay. Then it is a quasi-experimental design. What do you mean by quasi-experimental design? Quasi, it means that like experimental design. It is not truly an experimental design, but it is like an experimental design. So you have to understand that ex post facto research is a quasi-experimental design because it is like an experimental design, which is the main characteristics of research is, the main characteristics of experimental research is trying to establish the cause and effect relationship, which is happening in ex post facto research, but it is not a true experiment because the random assignment and manipulation of variables are not happening. So the ex post facto research is not a true experiment, but it is like an experimental design. So that is what it is meant by quasi-experimental design. Then an example of ex post facto research will be trying to understand the relationship between socioeconomic status, not socioeconomic status, the family relationship between what family conditions of criminals and their criminal background. Is there any relationship between this if any relationship between this the criminals and their family background. Is there any relationship? We are trying to understand the family background and criminals tendency. Is there any relationship? So you're trying to establish a cause and effect relationship. You're trying to understand whether there is a relationship between this family background and criminal tendency. So you cannot you are obviously you will be studying criminals, right? You wanted to study criminals because criminal tendencies are found in criminals. So you cannot the person has already become a criminal. You cannot make them criminal, right? The variable is already been happened. The person has already become the criminal, and the family background or also has been occurred. You cannot make that happen, right? So you are trying to establish a relationship between two variables that has already been occurred, the family background and criminal. These two variables has been already occurred. You are trying to understand whether there is a relationship. Okay, then you can understand the achievement motivation among orphans. So you're trying to understand whether there is an relationship between achievement motivation and being orphan, whether there is a relationship. So they being an orphan is already been happened. Okay, that variable is already been happened, and you're trying to understand whether being an orphan make any difference in achievement motivation. So the variable is already been happened, and you're trying to establish whether there is a relationship between in being an orphan and their achievement motivation. So that is an example of ex post facto research. Okay. So the next research is correlational research. In correlational research, you are trying to understand the relationship between two or more variables. You are just trying to examine whether there is a relation. Okay, you are not trying to understand the cause. We are not trying to understand the cause and effect. You're just simply trying to understand the relationship. Okay, whether these two variables are related or not. That is what you're trying to find in correlation research, and it is quantitative research method. So it is trying to understand whether the changes in one variable is associated with the changes in the another variable. Okay, and you're just trying to understand the strength and direction of this association. Then there is correlational coefficient, which is denoted by the letter R. So in correlational research, you will understand the association or relationship between two variables, and that relationship is often expressed as correlation coefficient. This correlation coefficient ranges from -1 to +1. So -1 to 0, that correlation indicates a negative correlation. Then 0 to +1, that correlation indicates a positive correlation. Then the correlation of 0 indicates a zero correlation. So by positive correlation, one means that one variable increases, then the other variable is also increasing. So if I say that the variable 1 and variable 2 are positively correlated, it means that if variable 1 increases, the variable 2 will also increase. If the variable 1 decreases, the variable 2 will also decrease. That is what positive correlation is. Okay. Then there is negative correlation. So if I say variable 1 and variable 2 is negatively correlated, it means that if variable 1 decreases, variable 2 increases. If variable 1 increases, the variable 2 decreases. So the relationship is in the negative or opposite direction. In negative correlation, then the zero correlation indicates that there is no correlation between the variables, or there is no relationship between the variables. Okay. Then, so we have discussed 3 quantitative research methods, which were first experimental research, second was ex post facto research, and third was correlational research. Okay. Now we will be discussing qualitative research. The first qualitative research is ethnographic research. So the ethnographic research is a qualitative research method which involves systematic study of people and cultures in their natural setting. The main characteristic of ethnographic research is that we are studying a particular people or culture in their natural setting. Okay, keep it in mind. Keep that in your mind. You're studying a people or culture in their natural setting. So here you're trying to understand the social phenomena, behaviors, or cultural practice of a particular group or community by living among them. Okay, living in their natural environment by being a part of them. So the first characteristic is that participant observation. Here, the ethnographer, the one who is engaging in ethnographic research, is engaging in participant observation. You are being the part of the community, participating in the daily activities of the community, and thus understanding that particular phenomena or that particular culture. Okay. You will be engaging in the community, and we will be documenting. Okay, you will be documenting the interactions, ritual behaviors, everything you are documenting, being a part of that group. Okay, then another characteristic is an in-depth interview. Okay, here you will be you will be interviewing the community members in detail so as to understand their beliefs, values, and experiences. Then thick description. So the ethnographic researchers will be providing thick description because they lived among them. So they will be having many amount of data. Okay, so the description or data will be very thick and very in-depth. So you can understand the richness and complexity of the culture or whatever phenomena being studied. Okay. So let me give you an example. You are trying to understand a particular Adivasi group. Okay. You want to understand, say, a particular Adivasi group in Wayanad. Suppose, just an example, you want to understand a particular group in Wayanad. So you will go to Wayanad and find a place where these Adivasi groups are living, and you will live among them. You will live among them. You will participate in their activities. You will observe whatever they are doing, how they are living, how they are dressing, how they are talking, what are their practices, and you are recording everything. So you will be having a thick description, and you will be asking people, okay, why are you dressing like this? Why are you doing this particular ceremony? Why are you how are you making this particular thing? Why are you practicing this particular system or particular custom? So you will ask questions, and you will be having the in-depth interview data. So that is how ethnographic research goes like. Okay, I hope that is clear. Next, we have historical research. Okay, historical research, as the name indicates, is the systematic investigation of past events, developments, or phenomena to understand their causes, consequences, and significance. So in historical research, we are critically examining and analyzing the history. Okay, you're trying to past events. Okay, whatever past is history, right? So you're trying to understand the history through critical examination and analysis of various sources, artifacts, documents, and records, and you will try to reconstruct and interpret the past from these sources, the sources of historical sources like archives, news reports, documents, artifacts. All these things are there, and you are trying to critically examine these documents and everything, and you are trying to reconstruct the past. Okay, so the primary sources and secondary sources of data are there in historical research. So the primary source of data are first-hand accounts or evidence from the particular phenomena. So you are trying to understand, say you're trying to understand independence, some Quit India movement, say Quit India movement. You're trying to understand Quit India movement, how it happened, what were happened during the Quit India movement, how the independent freedom fighters made the Britishers go from India, quit India. Okay, so you will be using primary sources and secondary sources. So by primary sources, you will be interviewing the freedom fighters who are alive. So there are many freedom fighters who are alive, and you will be going to that freedom fighters. You will ask you will ask their first hand accounts. Okay, so that will be a primary source of data. Then it also includes newspapers, photographs, artifacts, oral histories, and other things. Okay, then there are secondary sources. By secondary sources, you are reading interpretation of Quit India movement. There will be other researches already happened in Quit India movement, or historical accounts of Quit India movement. So you will look into that secondary sources of Quit India movement. All those come under the secondary source of data. Then critical analysis is an important characteristics of historical research. So here you are critically analyzing the data, whether it is primary source of data or secondary source of data. You're critically evaluating and analyzing this historical sources. Okay. So that is about historical research. In historical research, you are trying to understand an history, a past experience or phenomena which has happened in the past by critically examining the primary or secondary source of data. So the another research is narrative research. It is also a qualitative research. In narrative research, one is trying to collect narratives. Okay, one is trying to collect narratives, and then you are trying to analyze and interpret that collected narratives. So what do you mean by narrative? Narrative simply means storytelling or first-hand account of people's experience. All these are a part of narrative. And you're trying to understand the reality or understand a particular phenomena by going to the people who actually experience that phenomena. You are understanding their narrative, and through that narrative, you are trying to understand that phenomena. So storytelling, it is a very important part of narrative analysis, because you are trying to analyze the phenomena from a narrative. So the narrative simply means stories. Okay, so you will be collecting the stories through interviews, diaries, the personal diaries of that people, or other personal accounts of that people, and you are trying to understand the phenomena through that narratives. Okay, then you are trying, you will be considering what they told and what they doesn't told. Okay, so when I tell you a particular experience of mine, I will be telling many things and I will be keeping hold of many things. Okay, so you can interpret many things from what I said, so you will be interpreting that also. Okay, so you will be listening what I said, and you will be interpreting what I didn't said from what I said. You will be decoding my conversation or what my interview, and understanding what is inside it. You will be understanding the meaning, symbols, and metaphors embedded within that narrative. Okay, then you will understand that phenomena much better. Let me give you an example. You're trying to understand the grief. Okay, you're trying to understand how grief works. Okay, when you lose a very loved one or very close family person, how do you undergo the grief process? You're trying to study that grief process. So you will be going to people and who have experienced grief already, and you will be taking their stories, you will be taking their narratives, and you will be recording their narratives. You will be taking their diaries and everything, how they overcome grief and everything. Also, that then you will also consider the cultural environment they are coming from. You will also taking into account the social environment they are coming from, how related that person and the died one was. All those things we are considering in the narrative analysis. Then after interpreting and analyzing all those things, you will be understanding what the process of grief is. Okay, so that is about narrative analysis. So we have discussed three type of quantitative research, which was experimental research, then there was ex post facto research, and then there was correlational research. Then we discussed three type of qualitative research, just ethnographic research, then there was historical research, then there is narrative research. Okay, so I hope you are clear about all these researches. If you have any doubts or clarifications you needed, you can ask me. If you don't have any questions, we will be looking into the previous year questions. Everyone, please respond. If you have any doubts throughout the session, you can ask, and I will be telling them again, or I will clarify that particular topic. Okay, PPT. This PPT will be available to you in your app, I guess. Okay. This session will be available to you in your app, and this PPT will be likewise available in your app. For that, you have to ask your coordinator or your mentor, whoever that is. They will be providing more explanation or clarification on that matter. Okay. I cannot directly give this PPT to you. Okay. I have some limitation and everything. So it will be either available in the app or things like that. You have to ask your mentor for that. So we will be looking to the questions. First question, all these are some previous year questions I've collected. As compared to quantitative researchers, qualitative researchers lay more emphasis on measurement, causality, context, generalization. So the question is, what exactly is more emphasized in qualitative research when compared to quantitative research? Anyone? Aifer. Yes, Asia, Aifer app only. For, as I said, for more clarification, kindly contact your mentor. Okay. So as compared to quantitative researchers, qualitative research lay more emphasis on whether they'll lay more emphasis on measurement, causality, context, or generalization. Anyone? Should I say the answer only? Okay. See, quantitative researchers lay emphasis on measurement. Okay. I said in the PPT that quantitative research is concerned with the quantification and measurement. So, quantitative researchers lay emphasis on measurement. Causality. Quantitative researchers lay emphasis on cause and effect relationship. That is what is meant by causality. Then quantitative researchers lay emphasis on generalization. On the other hand, qualitative researchers lay more emphasis on context. Okay, what exactly the context is, where this person is coming from, what is their personal surroundings like, what is their cultural surroundings like, what is their social surroundings like. All those context is given more important in qualitative research. Quantitative research is not laying emphasis on the context of the participant, okay, or context of the phenomena. So next question is, which of the following characteristics of qualitative research? It liberally uses statistical test. It is narrative. It is laboratory oriented. It is interpretative. It focuses on the cultural construction of meaning. Among these options, which are the characteristic of qualitative research? Okay, qualitative research, which are the characteristics of qualitative research? Among these options, which are the characteristics of qualitative? Okay, Asia has replied the option D. Okay, if we go by option D, it is B, D, E. B is, it is narrative, it is interpretative, it focuses on cultural construction of meaning. Very good, Asia. That is a correct answer. In qualitative research, it is narrative. We have already discussed that one type of qualitative research is narrative research. So obviously, it is narrative is a characteristics of qualitative research. It is interpretative. I have already said that we are deeply focusing on the interpretation of the phenomena in qualitative research, and we are also given importance to culture of that particular phenomena in qualitative research. The other option, it liberally uses statistical tests. It is an characteristics of quantitative. Laboratory oriented is also a characteristic of qualitative. Okay, that is how option D comes as an answer. Then another person, Irfana, also given the right answer. Okay, very good, Irfana. Then another question is, which of the following factors must be taken into account in quantitative research? Okay, so here the question is about quantitative research. Measurement, causality, replication, exclusion of statistical analysis, less importance to standardization. Which is the correct answer? The question is about quantitative research. Okay. So what are the factors that must be taken into account in quantitative research? Anyone, please? A. Okay. UP. Okay. UP has given the answer as UP. Kindly change this direct message option. Can you please? UP has actually initially also answered, but it was direct message, so I didn't read the message. Okay, UP. I'm really sorry, I didn't see the direct message. Okay, so UP had given the option C, C, D, E. Okay, UP. Then another person, Asia, has given the option A. So here the question is about the factors that must be taken into account in quantitative research. Okay, so in quantitative research, first option, measurement. Okay, measurement is an important characteristics in quantitative research. So A is correct. Causality. I have been mentioned that cause and effect relationship is very important in quantitative research. So B is also correct. Replication. Replication is very important in quantitative research. So A, B, C is correct. Then D. D is exclusion of statistical analysis. That is wrong. Because in quantitative research, statistical analysis should be included. So option D is wrong. Then E is less important to standardization, which is also wrong. In quantitative research, we are giving more importance to standardization. So the correct is A, B, and C. A is the correct answer. A, B, and C. So A is the correct answer. Asia is given the correct answer. UP has also tried to answer, which is very good. So then there is another question. Which research method is used to identify cause-effect relation and test possible explanation for effect? Very easy question. Cause-effect relationship. Which method you try to explain the cause-effect relationship? In this option, we have correlation, ethnography, case studies, and experimental. Which is trying to explain cause-effect relationship? Okay, D. Okay, UP has said D. Yes, D is the correct answer. Cause and effect relationship is mainly studied in the experimental research. We also have ex post facto, but ex post facto is not in the option. So the correct option is experimental. Then the another question is the systematic elimination of extraneous variable other than those you are interested in can be done in which of the following type of research? In which experiment you are trying to exclude the extraneous variable, or you are trying to eliminate the extraneous variable? That is the question. Yes, C. UP has also correctly answered this question. C. Experimental research. This question also is dealing with experimental research. In experimental research, you are trying to eliminate the extraneous variable. You are either eliminating the extraneous variable or you are either holding the constant. Okay. So that is how the answer is. Then another question is, which of the following are experimental manipulation? I have said in experimental research, we are manipulating many things. So in the following, which are the experimental manipulation? Environmental manipulation, stimulus manipulation, instructional manipulation, plan manipulation, decision manipulation. Yes, A is the correct answer. In experimental situation, you are manipulating the environment, you are manipulating the stimulus, and you are manipulating the instructions. You are not manipulating the decision, or you are not manipulating the planning. Okay, actually those two are not a standard term also. Okay, so the correct answer is A, B, and C. Then this is a very interesting question. I hope many of you will be answering this question. Population census can be an example of historical study, case study, longitudinal study, experimental study. Which is the answer? Anyone? Okay, Asia Mariam has answered A, historical study. Then anyone else? Irfana, where is Irfana? She answered one question and she disappeared. Irfana, then where is UP? These three are the only ones who are active. So that is why I just called them. Okay. So actually here, we know in India, the population census happen in every 10 years, right? 10 or 11 years. Actually, I'm not clear about that. So once in every 10 years, the population census happen, right? So here it is an example of longitudinal study. You're collecting data from the same people over an extended period of time. Okay. So it is an example of longitudinal study. It is not an example of historical study. You are not trying to understand history, right? You're not trying to understand you are not trying to understand phenomena in detail, historical phenomena in detail. So it is not an example of historical study. In case study, you are trying to understand a phenomena in detail. So population census, you are not trying to understand a phenomena in detail, but you are trying to collect data from the citizen of a particular country over a particular period of time. So you are collecting data in 2011, then you will be collecting data in 2022, then you will be collecting data in 2033. So that is how the census is happening. So it is an example of longitudinal study. Then other question is, which of the following are sources of data in historical research? Okay, from what all sources you will be collecting data in historical research? Personal observation, focus group discussion, oral testimony, relics, accuracies. Which are the answers? Anyone? Yes, UP has given the answer as D. See, in historical research, one is collecting data from primary sources and secondary sources. So, personal observation is a source of data. Then focus group discussion. You cannot bring up a lot of people from past and discuss it. So it is not an example. Sorry, it is not a source of data. Then there is oral testimony. Oral testimony is a primary source of data in historical research. So that is an correct option. Then relics. Relics is and correct source of data in historical research. Relics means evidences or like that artifacts. That is what is meant by relics. Then accuracies. Accuracies are actually professionals. Statistical professionals are known as accuracies. So accuracies is not a source of data in historical research. A, C, and D are the source of data in historical research. So correct option is C. Then another question is, the ethnographic research is mostly conducted in stimulated environment, natural environment, virtual environment, artificial environment. Where does ethnographic research happens? Okay. UP and ASI has answered very immediately. So the correct option is B, natural environment. Okay. Ethnographic research happens in the natural setting. I have already mentioned. So if you are doing an ethnographic research, one goes to the natural environment or natural setting of that culture or whatever you are studying. You go to that natural place and then study. So the correct answer is B. Then the last question, which of the following are the actions of an ethnographic researcher? He gets immersed in the social setting. He avoids collecting documents about the group members he is researching upon. He observes the behavior of the group members. He listens to their conversation. He does not interview the participant when they are not amenable. B. To have answered B. Irfana has also answered B. So the correct answer is B only. Okay. So in an ethnographic research, the researcher get immersed in the social setting, or whichever setting he is studying, he get immersed. That is, he participate, right? I had said that the main characteristic of ethnographic research is participant observation. So First option is correct. Second option, he avoids collecting documents. That is not the correct option. In ethnographic research, one encourages or one gets immersed in collecting documents. So second option is wrong. Then C is he observes the behavior of the group members. That is also correct. He listens to the conversation. As I said, the person doing the research get immersed in the setting and listens to the conversation, observes everything. So D is also correct answer. Then E, he does not interview the participant when they are not amenable. That is wrong. He interviews the participants. Okay, so the correct option is A, C, D only, which is option D. Okay, so I get that you are very much clear about today's topic. So it was very good talking to you people. If you have any doubts regarding today's topic, you can ask those questions in the next session, because we are winding up our today's session. So in next session, we will be discussing the step of research. Okay, so if you want, you can just look up the step of research. It will be in your learning material. Okay, so if you look and come into next session, it will be very helpful. If you come as fresh, that is also okay. So I hope today's session was clear. Keep doing previous year questions. Okay, it is very important that you keep doing previous year question and you decode the pattern of questions. Whichever unit or whichever subject you are studying, keep doing previous year questions. Okay, so let's wind up today's session. It was a very great session. I expect more participation in the next session. Okay, today's session was also participative, but I expect more participation in the next session. Okay, then good night, everyone.